This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and what an unbelievable couple of weeks it's been for the markets, guys. Gold is on a vengeance right now. It's recently reached a high of $1,900 USD, and this is all happening while Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies has actually taken quite a huge correction just in the last few days, going down as much as 40%. And this is all happening while the Fed is trying to tell us that this coming hyperinflation is really just transitionary. But at any rate, people are now seeming to be moving their assets into safer havens, as they should be. And it looks to me they may be moving out of crypto right now and moving into gold, which is probably a pretty good move. And joining us here right now to talk about a little bit about that and the ebb and flows of the whole market in general is Kevin Smith. He's the CEO and director of Gold Mountain. Gold-mountain.ca is the website. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us here today to talk about all this. Now, I want to get into the company. You guys have got a lot of exciting things coming down the pike in November in particular. We'll talk about that. But right now, it looks like bullion funds have been seeing some inflows in the past couple of weeks, more so than they have since October. As I said, gold's at $1,900 right now an ounce. And in contrast, Bitcoin has plunged like 40%. Now, I don't know if you've been following the cryptocurrency market, but do you see a correlation there? Is there a kind of a correlation between Bitcoin and gold? And do you also see that it kind of looks like people may be moving out of the crypto space right now and into gold? Do you see correlation there at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think last August you saw as people move away from gold into the more fast money moved into cryptocurrency, and it seems like we're having a bit of a transition right now as gold is proving to be the safe haven and continuing on this uptrend, which is really exciting. A nice tailwind with all the money printing from central banks, etc.
Well, that's a good point there. The central banks are printing into oblivion right now, and if that continues the way it's going, what do you think that is going to mean for commodities?
Yeah, I think commodities in general are set for a bit of a boom here. And, when we bought this project 2 years ago, everyone thought we were crazy. Lo and behold, today, gold is about 50% higher than when we purchased it. And all this money printing is kind of coming home to roost. So I think there's a commodities bull that's on for sure. And, I think the miners are really well positioned to take advantage of that. As these commodities go up, there's a really nice leverage there for these miners as it's built into their profits, especially if they're going into production.
And as I've been saying for quite some time right now, it seems that in times of uncertainty, like with this, coronavirus, we have the Biden administration could be going into the Middle East. We have all sorts of uncertainty and fear coming up in the third and fourth quarter of 2021. In those times of uncertainty, do you see gold taking a pretty big up spike? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but it seems to me that when times are rough, people seem to kind of want to head closer into these markets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people have made a lot of money in the markets. Valuations are extremely stretched. If you look historically, this is typically when you see, reality set in. And I think what people are doing is taking some of those frothier profits that they made in the tech space and rotating it more into these safe havens, which, ultimately is great for the space. I think Basel III coming down the line at the end of June here is going to be really interesting, where the banks are no longer allowed to leverage on synthetic trades, and they actually have to have allocated reserves in order to leverage. I think you could see a lot of shorts unwind, and that could get really interesting as far as upside for the gold and silver space.
Interesting. Well, I know a lot of my audience are pretty fed up with the banks in general. When we were happy to see in Iceland, for example, when they actually took their bankers to jail when it came down to the 2008 financial crisis. But let's talk a little bit about the company itself, Gold Mountain, because there's a lot of interesting things there. As I understand it, you've acquired this soon-to-be operational mine for an incredible $18 an ounce. These properties are usually going for around $150. So tell us a little bit about that, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so the Out Gold project, it's located here in south central British Columbia. It's a past producer. It's produced twice at an average of 97 grams a ton. There's a ton of historic drilling that's been done on it, 127,000 meters, a bunch of infrastructure in place. We went into Equinox Gold Corp. They owned it. They had a whole bunch of assets through a flurry of mergers and acquisitions that they could only focus on a select few. We recognized there was a real potential on this one. We went in and made a $10 million all-cash offer. We put $1 million down, and we just recently made our first $3 million payment, and the next two will be made out of the proceeds of mining. We anticipate getting our mining permit here in June. We're already under construction at site. The drills are back turning on our phase 2 drill program. We'll be waste rock mining in July and August, mining ore in September, delivering ore to our ore purchase agreement partner in October, and then first payables, as you mentioned earlier, in November. So a lot to be excited about over the near term.
So you said, I think it was Equinox was the previous owners. Had they put in a lot of it up to the point when you bought it?
Equinox was formed out of a merger of a whole bunch of different companies. So the previous operators, there's 2 or 3 groups that had it prior to us. And as it flowed through different hands and in these mergers and acquisitions, other assets in the portfolio were the focus for Equinox. And this was kind of sitting on the shelf. And we approached them and said, we'd like to push it forward. And they were looking to free up some cash. So it worked out really well for both sides.
Sweet. Now, who are some of the other key people involved? Because I know, for instance, Quentin Henney is involved. I've recently interviewed him. He's from Newfound Gold, which is up 600%, guys, in the last 10 months. It's pretty phenomenal. Maybe you could talk a little bit about his involvement, but do you have any other bigwigs like him involved?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a fairly young management team, but we're fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really experienced advisors around the deal. Tukey Angus, who is a friend and business partner of mine, is one of our advisors. He's probably best known right now for K92 Mining and he's known for K92 Mining, and SMN is another one of his deals. And then Quentin, as you mentioned, an incredible talent there. We're very lucky to have him around the project. He actually tried to buy this project 5 or 6 years ago unsuccessfully. So he's looking at his second opportunity to develop it out, which is really exciting to have him on board. He's excited about the underground potential, and he's really pushed us to drill deeper and establish an underground scenario, which came out in our PEA that was released today. So really exciting stuff on the horizon.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the underground potential, because as I understand it, you're looking to go into production in November of 2021. What other kind of milestones can people expect for the near future?
Yeah, this is a really interesting project in that we can bring it into production with a really low capex, and we'll use the cash flow that comes off of it to not only expand the resource through aggressive drilling, but to also expand the production profile and increase it to 65,000 ounces a year. And that's when this really starts getting exciting. And that's all just out of our Siwash North Zone. So in the first years, it'll just be an open pit mine. And then year 4, we transition to an open pit and underground scenario. But all the while, we'll be drilling out other zones on the property that are already drill tested and trying to establish some more of these really high-grade, million-ounce type pockets of gold that are all spread throughout the property.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the cost to produce an ounce, for example?
Yeah, we have a really low all-in sustaining cost. It's $554 an ounce, which is incredibly unique. And again, back to our ultra-low capex model of getting started up and then using an ore purchase partner instead of building a mill on site, it saves us a ton of money, and you can see that reflected in the economics.
Wow. Sounds like you guys are very, very well positioned for like I said, the 3rd and 4th quarter of 2021, which I do feel there are coming times of uncertainty. So I think you guys are well positioned moving forward. Now, if people want to get involved or learn about you, what are the tickers and where should people be going, the URL online to check it all out and learn from you guys?
Yeah, you can find us at gold-mountain.ca. That's our website. We're very active on Twitter and Instagram as well. We have a lot of digital media. And then our ticker in Canada is GMTN, and stateside it's GMTNF.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm going to strongly encourage people to check out the links in the description. We're going to have all the info listed below, guys. As I said, we do our due diligence into these companies, and these guys do their due diligence into the space. So I strongly recommend you check it out. mountain-gold.ca is the site. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We all want truth. set you free.